What's up, everybody? Bike Builder Bear in the house. This is a broken up video. You'll see another intro right after this sometime. This video is just about the shocks. When I started clipping out this video, I was in the middle of rebuilding one of these shitty shocks, and some other stuff was happening in my life, you know, background stuff, and just my head got all messed up. Next thing you know, I wasn't touching my little bike for 2 weeks because between the shock and a couple other things, I was really pissed off. So that being said, I'm gonna run you through what I did to this shock. Basically, you know, a couple of clips of how it was going, and then, you know, obviously I'm gonna be time traveling. So, you know, we'll check it out as it goes. I'm just putting this out as kind of a warning that these shocks on eBay are shit. You can make them actually functional to a point, and this is going to be that video. I decided after all to put this stuff together and go ahead and make a video. I even had one gentleman on Facebook, one of the clone pages. He was screaming at me online, "Yeah, the piggyback isn't even plumbed. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't believe your lying eyes." All I'm gonna say to all my haters out there, because I know I have some haters, is double barrels. Fuck off. I don't give a shit what you say. I never said that I'm a fucking engineer, okay? I'm just a fucking junkyard dog, and I do shit fucking 90% better than motherfuckers that own shops out there, you know, with all your big money. I grew up eating mayonnaise sandwiches and sugar sandwiches, so double barrels to all the haters, okay? So cut that and get back to it. Yeah. Before I jump to that, check this out. I want to show you this. This is my Promise, not Pride Cruiser. It's a Hyperbike Co. 29. I've been building this. I've got a custom chain and a custom chain wheel, and then I'll be doing a music montage on this bad boy. So look for that soon. What's up, everybody? Bike Builder Bear in the house. I took my time to take apart this $60 shock, which is supposed to have a dampener, which doesn't actually work. It's plumbed with a piston for resistance, but this is actually not a working dampener, and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so as you can see there, it is plumbed. It is plumbed through the shock absorber to the piggyback, but those do nothing. The adjuster on top is just a couple of spring bearings and a you know, it's the knob for something similar to that, but look at, there's no variance in depths or anything. It's just there to click and look good. So and then there is a piston which goes in the cylinder this way and has a depression, and this is the back. This is the cap, the back cap. This would be the real dampening position right here. If there was a special screw made with a wide plate that had a spring, and the spring went on the back of that, it would it would create resistance against the spring, and the tighter that you tightened this, the more resistance this piston would have. So what I'm gonna do is, because they had it barely filled up with enough fluid, so I'm thinking I gotta brainstorm real quick. Holy shit. So I made that spring tensioner for the dampening piston. I purged all the fluid and filled it up halfway. and I'm gonna put it back together, and hopefully this works. Okay, rebuilt with the progressive oil. My spring-loaded adjuster that now works off this. Now it's nice and solid. It doesn't pogo. Now it'll work like an actual piggyback adjustable shock. Yeah, see, now adjusting it is simple. If you need more dampening when you compress, you just turn this to the left and it will back out the nut, pushing the nut up with the spring. And if you want it to have, if you want it to be softer in the end of your compression, you go ahead and turn it that way. And like I said, it'll bring the nut down and less tension on the spring. Okay, so you've seen the clips where, I've taken this apart and got it back together. I have it back together with progressive shock oil now. And now this can be adjusted by this Allen key right here. As you can see that spacer actually spins, and this is just a spacer so that the hardware does have the ability to turn. Because I got this set up to where all you do is you turn this counterclockwise, and it tightens up the spring. It pushes the spring up into the piston in here. You turn it clockwise, and the nut pulls down the spring, less tension, which that's where you're getting your dampening. Because your fluid, if you set up a reservoir and some type of control unit that can either add more atmospheric pressure to the fluid or reduce that fluid, that's where you get your dampening effect, which won't dampen the speed of which it goes up and down. Okay, it dampens the very end, the compression. So this shock is now set up not like a variable adjustment for your up and down. No, it's simply set up to where the fluid becomes a shock, a spring unit itself, when the suspension starts getting more compressed and more compressed. So that's what I've turned this into. It's almost like an off-road shock, more than a highly tunable shock for control and all of that stuff, for track tuning. That's not what you're getting here. If you want less pogo action, you've got to put a thicker fluid. If you want more faster up and down action, more actuation, you got to put a thinner fluid. That's the way that you would have to control these. Then that's how things would have to be done. Is the fluid really is going to be what controls how fast your spring rate is, and the piggyback is only going to be for maximum compression dampening for when you compress, which I'm doing a lot of wheelies and stuff like that. I don't go to a track. I do go ride up in the mountains, but with the progressive oil that I've put in here, it seems to be a lot better, and it gets full actuation, and it feels real. So even though I have rebuilt this shock, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna give it a chance, see how it rides, but most likely what I am gonna do, because I do know that they work, is I'm gonna buy a set of RFYs, and I'm just gonna get a set of RFYs that work. And you almost have to do the same thing. RFYs are a pretty decent shock, but they come from China, so they have no petroleum products can be shipped and sold over Chinese ways. So everything that they send, motors, shocks, forks, all that stuff has fish oil. It either has fish oil or corn oil, and fish oil is cheaper. So most likely you're getting fish oil. Sometimes you get a silicone oil, but I found out recently that the silicone oil is a lot more expensive than fish or corn oil. So yeah, so most likely, if I am unhappy with the changes that I've made with this shock, because when I tried it straight out of the box, literally my back tire was bouncing off the ground, my rear end's doing this, you know, when I get up to 60 miles an hour. So that's not cool. So I'm gonna give this some runs, see how it goes, and if it's a complete piece of dog shit, I'll be making another video about that, along with a video showing how to improve a RFY shock to fit on the Grom clone. And one thing I can say is, for the price that you'll pay for the RFY shock is what these guys are asking for one shock in comparison. So if you buy a set of RFYs, you can get one for you and a buddy. So that's how things would have to be done. Is you know, the fluid really is going to be what controls how fast your spring rate is, and the piggyback is only going to be for maximum compression dampening for when you compress, which I'm doing a lot of wheelies and stuff like that. I don't go to a track. I do go ride up in the mountains, but with the progressive oil that I've put in here, it seems to be a lot better, and it gets full actuation, and it feels really nice when you slam your weight down on it. So I have turned this shock from a fake piggyback shock to a real piggyback shock, in a sense. It's not a track tune shock. It's just a half-ass motorcycle shock with a piggyback dampener for, you know, hard impacts and stuff like that. So please like, please subscribe. If you don't like, if you're a hater, double barrels, period. And one more thing, I apologize if you have bought a motor mount and it's a, you know, a 30-second off. You know what I mean? None of these frames are 100% laser straight accurate, you know, and there is no consistency in these frames. So do a little thinking, But anyways, please like, please subscribe. God bless. Have a good day.